Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, it's too early to be making this video. I gotta drink coffee first. Freaking 6 in the morning. Anyways, I want to make this video because I think everybody should know that there are a lot of MVNOs that actually work on the T-Mobile network. I just did one on AT&T and it turned out pretty good, and I think a lot of you probably learned something. You know, you learned about all the different MVNOs that AT&T network rides on. Let's do the same thing with the T-Mobile network. It's actually a lot more than I thought. I'm surprised. Some of them are really obscure and you probably aren't going to know the brands. Maybe you've never seen commercials for them. There's so many that I've never heard of. Some of them I have heard of. Some of them actually are repeats from the AT&T video because the mobile virtual network operator has like options. You could choose which provider you're on. So they got options for you. Anyways, let's go through these brands that sell service on the T-Mobile network. Why the hell would you want T-Mobile network access but not to deal with T-Mobile? T-Mobile's not as great as it used to be. What I mean by that is dealing with the company is not as straightforward as it used to be. In the uncarrier days, a lot of people loved working directly with T-Mobile. They loved the brand. They didn't mind having to go postpaid. But now there are people that want the network access. They want to be on T-Mobile's impressively large and high-capacity 5G network, but they don't want to deal with T-Mobile, the company.
You suck!
Whether it's price increases or the retail experience, it's kind of been downhill since John Legere left and since the uncarrier died back in 2020 when they merged with Sprint. So that's why somebody would want the T-Mobile network access but not have to deal with T-Mobile. So here are the MVNOs that I found that use the T-Mobile network. Here are the brands. First off, Astound Mobile. I don't know anything about Astound Mobile, although I have heard of it. Maybe you guys can comment down below what you know about them, if you've used them and if you recommend them to anybody. I personally haven't heard of them. Next one is Boom Mobile, another obscure company, which I haven't used personally, but I have heard of them. Maybe you've used them, and you could offer kind of your thoughts and opinions on your experience. Next is Boost Mobile. Boost Mobile is obviously a big prepaid provider. They technically have their own network, but at times when you're not on the native Dish network, they don't have the cell tower support. You'll be moving to some roaming agreement, and that roaming agreement in this case would be with T-Mobile. Sometimes some phones and some SIM cards are connecting to the T-Mobile network. Sometimes it's AT&T. It's probably usually going to be AT&T, but technically T-Mobile network access is supported on Boost Mobile. All right, next we have Data Zoom, which I said in my previous video I'd never heard of. That's an MVNO that also has AT&T as a choice, so I just thought I'd throw that in there. We have Flex Mobile, one that I've never heard of before. There's Fligs Mobile. That one is extremely random and obscure. No idea what that is. Gen Mobile and Good To Go Mobile are two brands that I spoke about in the AT&T video, so it looks like you got network choices there. Google Fi, which is probably one of the more long-standing network partners that T-Mobile has. It's well known that they use T-Mobile, and actually they've got some great promotions going on right now. Probably worth a look. One of the more recent entrants into the space is Helium Mobile, and that one's got like the hotspots and the things that, you know, like people are connecting their fiber and cable and whatever connections to provide hotspot access for Helium Mobile customers. So it's not on the T-Mobile network. It's an interesting proposition and a very interesting company. They use the T-Mobile network. Infy Mobile, which I've never heard of, and Jethro Mobile. Two brands completely obscure. No idea. Now there's Kroger Wireless, which I'm assuming is some kind of like an MVNO through the Kroger stores. I didn't know they had that. Then there's Leica Mobile. I've known about Leica. Mango Mobile is a new one. I've never heard of Mango Mobile. That's crazy. Metro by T-Mobile is obviously T-Mobile's prepaid brand, similar to what AT&T does with Cricket and what Verizon does with Visible and, you know, Total and stuff like that. Next you have Mint Mobile, which actually used to be a standalone company, but now it's actually owned by T-Mobile, and we have a partner link for that. So if you want to take advantage of Mint Mobile's great deals, our partner link is down in the description. Mobi or Mobi. I don't know if I pronounced that correctly. If I did, fantastic. If I didn't, correct me, please. New York Mobile.
Shame on you when you step through to the old dirty bastard. Brooklyn, shame.
Seems like kind of like a small, very small company. that operates out of that lovely state. Optimum Mobile. I think Optimum Mobile is the cable company. So you guys may know Optimum, the cable company that's over on the East Coast. I think they serve the tri-state area, basically New York and New Jersey. We have Patriot Mobile. That's one that also has AT&T network access. Reach Mobile. I think I covered that one also no, I didn't cover that in the AT&T video. Red Pocket Mobile I did. That's one that's on the AT&T network too. Speed Talk Mobile, that's a new one. Never heard of them. Surf USA Mobile, is that a California-based company? I have no idea. Tello I've heard of, Tello Mobile. Text Now I've heard of, and I've also heard of Ting. That one's actually owned by Dish. The Ting Mobile, I think, also has AT&T access. True Connect is a new one I have not heard of. I don't know anything about True Connect. Ultra Mobile is tied to the MintMobile brand, so that's going to be owned by T-Mobile. US Mobile is one of the most well-known MVNOs. You actually get to choose your network. They have access to all of them. So if you wanted Verizon access, if you wanted AT&T access, or if you want T-Mobile access, US Mobile sells it. And then here it says Wing is also an MVNO partner of T-Mobile. I did not know that. Last I checked, I thought it was just AT&T, but maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me if that is the case. And the last one is Wow Mobile, and Wow is, if they're still in business, that is a cable provider, which I don't know if they've had a name change in their brand, a home broadband provider, but they also sell mobile services, and they do so through T-Mobile. That is what I could find. Those are the brands that are on the T-Mobile network that are MVNO partners, meaning if you want the T-Mobile network, but you don't want to deal with T-Mobile directly, these are ways you could do it through these MVNO and prepaid brands. Chances are you could probably save money on your services if you want to get away from T-Mobile postpaid. Maybe you're on a single line or two line. You're probably better off going with one of these brands. I can tell you for sure, Mint Mobile can help you save money. Link in the description down below. Also, drop me some comments and tell me which of these brands you like the most, which ones you recommend, which ones you've tried. Maybe share your experiences with it. And let me know if you're looking to get away from T-Mobile. And one of these brands might be worth your considerations. Anyways, thanks for watching. Hope you guys learned something. I know I did when I was looking up these brands. There are a lot of T-Mobile MVNOs, a lot more than I thought. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. And I hope you guys have a good rest of the day. We'll see you soon on the next one.